Hello my friends, I hope you're doing well. Thanks for stopping by. Today I'm in Luminar Neo and we're taking a look at dodge and burn. If you saw my last video talking about the new update to Luminar, which includes the option to get the extension for HDR merge, it also includes dodge and burn. I touched on it in that video and I want to show you how it works today by going through an example, demoing the tool and helping you get your arms around this very useful tool. Let's get going. I have an incredibly beautiful gray piece of paper. It's not beautiful and it's not going to be beautiful. It's going to continue to be a gray piece of paper, but it's a great way to show how dodge and burn works. So it's down in the professional section at the bottom. It's dodge and burn. Now you may have other tools there, like if you go to the top here, super contrast and color harmony. They're on the top of mine because I've created them as favorites, so they're in this new favorites category at the top. But otherwise, you will find it at the bottom unless you fave it, and then it'll be at the top. You get it. Anyway, so dodge and burn, lightening and darkening parts of your photo. Incredibly powerful, incredibly useful, and this tool is great to have. Now, I'm going to walk through a few different things here. There's an overall amount slider, which we'll get to in a minute. There's 3 tabs, lighten, darken, and erase, which do exactly what they sound like. And then you've got a size, a softness, and a strength slider, which is for your brush and how you paint on the lightening or the darkening. So we're going to start with lightening. I'm going to increase the size and my softness. If you look at my my mouse here, it's basically one circle, but if I increase the softness, you'll see that I have 2 circles now. So what that does is, so you can see here, the inner circle basically gets all of the adjustment you're making, and then it fades or softens, kind of dissipates as it moves from that inner circle to the outer circle. So it gives you a soft edge. Whereas if you're at 0 softness, you have a very hard edge, right? And then strength is what is the intensity of that edit. So I'm going to go ahead and go to 100, and I will go to softness, and I will put my size of my brush right in the middle, and all I'm going to do is just draw a line across here and you will see what happens. I've now got white because I'm lightening this gray piece of paper. Size, again, is the size of this brush. Softness is that soft edge. You can see where it's white and it fades gradually to gray, and strength is 100, which means 100% of that is going on. It's not a minor amount, but you can adjust that with the strength slider. So let me show you first the softness. If I go all the way to 0, you will see that I have a very hard edge, right? Which means it goes from white to gray immediately. It is a light switch transition, no change whatsoever. And now with strength, I can reduce the intensity. So for strength, I can come in and I can do this, still have the hard edge, right? Softness of 0, same size brush, but I've got a lower strength at 53. So basically half as strong as this one on the left, which means it's not as white because I'm not lightening it as much. And if I go to the top one with the full softness and that same half strength, if you come across here, you can see, there you go. It is basically half strength, but with a soft brush. Now here's the thing you can do, and that is once you finish painting, you let go of your mouse to stop applying that edit. But if you go back with your mouse and do it again, when you have a lower strength, you're basically brushing on more of that. So it is cumulative. As I continue to go back and forth, each time re-clicking my mouse, I will build up that accumulation of that edit and eventually get to 100% strength. You can basically tell these two don't really look any different. So keep that in mind. You can start with the low strength, and I definitely recommend that you do that, and you can build up over time. I also highly recommend you use a soft edge. I leave mine at 100 because I want that gradual transition. Otherwise, these hard edges like that are incredibly difficult to get accurate, and you'll end up with halos or overlaps, and the light will just not look right. Now, once you have your edits applied, you also have the amount slider, so you can come in and reduce the amount of that on your photo, which is a great way to kind of say, hey, you know what, I like what I did, but maybe I did a little too much. Maybe it was too much strength, something like that. I can pull down the amount, which is basically an opacity slider for that edit. So that's how light works. I'm going to go ahead and do a darken. It's a completely same idea. I'm going to go similar size, and I'm going to go with strength of 100 and softness at 100. and I'm just going to come in, and you can see I'm getting totally black. And that is basically because I've darkened at 100 strength and a very soft brush. And of course the opposite is true. If I come in with a hard brush, I get that. And if I reduce strength on the hard brush, I come over here, you can see it's more gray and not black because I haven't fully darkened it because I'm at a 52 strength. And if I change the softness back up here, I can get a softer adjustment there in terms of darkening. And once again, I can just paint over this again, let go of my mouse, do it again and again, each time letting go of my mouse, and I accumulate more and more of those edits. So you kind of stack the edit. Now there's a couple of keystroke or hotkeys you can use. The first one is X. When you click the X, it bounces between lighten and darken. Notice there's a plus sign in the center of my mouse. Plus is you're adding light, you're lightening. If I click the X key, I've got a minus key now, or a minus sign, and that means I'm taking away light or darkening. So X allows you to bounce back and forth, at least on the Mac. Now for the, you can use bracket key to increase or decrease the size of the brush. Left bracket key will shrink your mouse, and right bracket key will increase the size of it. And then while you're at it, the shift and bracket key, shift and left with the bracket key creates a harder brush, and holding down the shift while clicking the right bracket key will create a softer brush. Again, these keystrokes are on the Mac, but they should work the same on Windows, I think. Don't hold me to that. So that is how dodge and burn works, but that's only the first part of the video. The first part of the video is how it works. The second part of the video, and this is much more important, is why. Let me reset this, get a photo, and let me show you why you can use this, and you will implement the how in that photo. Okay, here's a photo I shot on the beach in Oregon years ago. The only thing I've done to this photo is crop it. If I hit the backslash key, you'll see there's no before and after change because there's no before other than the crop. Now, I'm not going to edit this photo. I'm just going to show you dodge and burn, and I want to point out the why. And so, as I said, the how is the first part of the video, but the why is really the more important part, like it is with all aspects of photography. You want to understand the how, so you know how to do things, but the why is really important, and the why is dodge and burn allows you to adjust light levels in a photo. What's a photo, right? It's a collection of light, basically, right? We run around with these little boxes that collect light, and then we end up with these images like this, and light is what it's comprised of. So dodge and burn is allowing you to adjust the light, to lighten certain areas, darken other areas. Now keep in mind, the difference between light and dark is contrast. And so creating a more higher contrast image is often a goal because managing the light and creating a higher contrast image impacts a lot of different things. It makes a more dramatic photo. It can make a more beautiful or impactful photo. It can make a more colorful photo, things like that. So keep that in mind. The why is you want to make a better photo, and dodge and burn can help. Now, you don't have to dodge and burn, and in fact, you can also dodge and burn with the develop tool, which has masking and gives you a bit more capability. So keep that in mind. This dodge and burn tool is really just for light. There's another thing to keep in mind, and that is it does impact saturation if you're using it in a heavy-handed or high-strength kind of approach. Some folks have mentioned that to me in my comments, and Anthony Turnham made a great example of that in his recent video as well. So keep that in mind. But if you're using it at low strength, which I definitely recommend, and a high softness, it's less likely to cause saturation problems. Specifically, I will just go to darken and strength, and I will make a really big mouse so it's easy to see. And let me just paint this across the photo, and you can see what I'm talking about here. Saturation is out of control. Now the thing is, I would not do that to a photo. With lighten or darken, I highly recommend 100% on softness and start with a low strength. I usually start in the low teens, maybe 10 or 12. And again, you know that it's cumulative as I showed you with the gray paper, so you can build up the adjustment. In this case, I might want to come in and do a little lightening along the horizon line and some of that sky. Maybe something like that. Maybe I want to come in with my mouse and do a little bit along the reflected sky in the sand. Then I'm going to hit my X key. Maybe I want to come in with a low strength of 10 on darken, high softness. I want to bracket key and reduce the size of my mouse, but maybe I just want to darken some of this sand and come in here, and again, I'm just creating contrast. I'm creating a difference between the light parts of the photo and the dark parts of the photo. Maybe I want to do a little bit over here. Maybe I want to do a little bit over there. You will, if you watch a lot of tutorials, like a lot of Lightroom tutorials, which I don't really do, but Serge Romilly, he's a great photographer and a great editor. He does dodge and burn a lot because you're touching up light levels because you can create a more impactful photo. So I've done very little here, but if you look at the before and the after, I got a little bit better look. But maybe I want to commit that. Maybe I want to do that the first time and just kind of hit some overall things. But another good idea and a way to use this tool is to separate your lighten and your darken on different instances, because remember, you can use the tools more than once in Luminar Neo. So this is a great way to come in with lighten and maybe say, oh, I want to lighten certain areas, and then you want to control the amount for that because maybe you do a little too much. So maybe I came over here and I hit this light section and I do that, and maybe I hit a little bit here and a little bit there, but I'm like, oh, you know, that's a little too much. Let me see the before and the after. Maybe I want to pull that back and pull that back to about an 85. I'm going to go ahead and commit that. I have that on its own instance of dodge and burn. Then I open dodge and burn again, and this time I want to go to darken and maybe do a little bit more over here on the sand, paint that in a little bit. Should have used a bigger brush. But let's say I do that. Maybe I want to hit a little bit of this distant mountain peak and some of that. I am going to right bracket key and increase my brush. Maybe I want to do a little bit here. And you know what else I want to do? I really want to add a little bit of drama to these clouds because, you know, they look really good and they contrast. Hey, remember that word. They contrast nicely with some of the lighter sky and some of the color and some of the other parts of the sky. So I'm creating a little bit of difference between the dark and the light. So this instance, using just the darkening, I've done that. Hey, a little too much. It's maybe a little too much. I'm going to pull that down. And maybe I'm going to pull that down by about 75. Remember, I did 85 opacity on my lightning. So you can use dodge and burn to customize the look of your image and separating different instances of dodge and burn. It could be light and dark. It could be different parts of the photo, whatever fits kind of your taste. But you can have a powerful impact on your photo. There it is before any adjustments, and there it is with a bit of dodge and burn. Now, I haven't impacted the color because I went really low on the intensity of that burning. But in this case, this kind of photo, I might want to come in and just wrap it up with a little bit of split toning in the highlights just to give it a little bit of that sunlight glow, maybe a little bit landscape here and give it some golden hour, you know, something like that. I'm kind of making it up. I didn't have any color edits. My point is, you have a lot of control with dodge and burn, and it's not perfect. It doesn't do everything that develop does, and you can use develop instead. Plus you have masking, and you can view the mask and develop, so keep that in mind. But for quick and easy and powerful adjustments that I consider kind of small to kind of shape the light, give it a little bit of impact, dodge and burn is a great tool for that. I'm really happy to have that in Luminar Neo now. That's my photo before. There it is now. I'm just kind of playing around, but the powerful impact of dodge and burn can make a huge difference in your photos. So keep that in mind. And if you enjoyed this video, I think you'll really like that one. Or is it that way? I forget which way it is. But anyway, I'm pointing at a video. Check out that video if you want to learn more about Luminar Neo, and I'll be back really soon to talk about HDR merge. Let me know what other topics you want me to cover. I'll see you soon, my friends. You guys take care, and until then, adios.